This is Building Humans, sponsored by Al Mahaba Foundation and Dar El Kalima Publishing.
It's good to be back.
Welcome back to another deep dive. Today, we're opening up Maria Montessori's Education and Peace again, and we're hitting a topic that I think drives every parent completely up the wall: movement.
Oh, yes, movement. It's usually the thing we're trying to contain or manage or just stop.
Exactly. I was thinking about this. We have this proverb, movement is a blessing. We say we want active, healthy kids. But let's be honest, in a classroom, at the dinner table, what's the ideal child?
The ideal is a statue.
Right, a statue.
Yeah.
The kid who sits perfectly still, hands folded, doesn't make a peep. And if a child is wiggling or tapping or gets out of their chair, my gosh, it's a behavioral problem. It's naughtiness.
We pathologize it. We see stillness as order, as discipline. But Montessori, in these chapters, she just takes that entire idea and turns it completely on its head.
How so?
She says that when we force a child to be still, we aren't creating discipline. We are, and this is her word, committing a crime.
A crime. That's a really strong word for telling a kid to sit down.
It's a crime against their biology. She has this metaphor. It's almost funny, but it's also deeply unsettling. She says, look at the difference between the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom. What's the one thing that separates a vegetable from a human?
Well, a vegetable is rooted. It stays put.
Exactly. It's stationary. An animal, on the other hand, is defined by movement. It has to explore, to build, to hunt. So when we make a child sit motionless in a desk for hours...
Uh-oh. I see where this is going.
We are quite literally trying to turn a human being into a vegetable.
That is a terrifying image. Nobody wants to raise a vegetable.
Ah.
But okay, let me play devil's advocate. We have to keep them still so they can learn, right? Learning happens when the brain is on and the body is off.
And that is the central mistake. We treat the mind and the body like they're two different things. But Montessori introduces this powerful concept. She calls movement the process of incarnation.
Incarnation. That sounds almost spiritual.
It is, but it's also deeply biological.
Yeah.
She refers to the newborn child as a spiritual embryo.
A spiritual embryo.
Yes. Think about it. A foal is born and it's on its feet in minutes. It knows how to run. Its software is pre-installed.
Right. Pure instinct.
But a human baby, it's helpless. The will, the intelligence, the spirit, it's all there, but it hasn't taken possession of the hardware yet. It hasn't connected to the muscles.
So it's like the driver's in the car, but has no idea how to use the steering wheel or the pedals.
A perfect analogy. And movement is the process of that driver learning the controls. Every time a baby reaches for something and misses, then tries again and grabs it. That's incarnation. That's the mind building a bridge to the body.
So all that stumbling and mess-making from a toddler, that's not chaos.
It's construction. It's the most important work they will ever do. Now, imagine taking that little construction worker and locking them in a desk and telling them, don't move, just listen.
You're halting construction.
You are severing the connection. You're creating this split, a spiritual illness, she calls it, and this deep fatigue.
Is that where the so-called naughtiness comes from? That kid who just can't sit still and eventually just explodes.
That explosion is repressed energy. Think of a river. If you dam it up without any outlet, the pressure builds and builds until it shatters the dam. That bad kid isn't bad. They're fighting for their own psychic life. They're trying to incarnate because we denied them the proper way to do it.
Wow. That completely reframes the disruptive student. They're not trying to bother us. They're trying to build themselves.
Exactly.
Okay, but let's go back to the learning part. There's a phrase in our notes that I just love. The hand is the instrument of intelligence.
Ah, yes. This is one of her most critical insights. We have this idea of intelligence being abstract thought. Rodin's thinker, just sitting, thinking.
Right.
But Montessori saw that real intelligence is built through interaction, through work. And the main tool for that work is the hand.
So touching things, manipulating things, that actually makes you smarter.
It builds the neural architecture for intelligence. The hand is like a scanner for the brain. When a child feels a rough texture or lifts a heavy block, they're downloading reality. They're learning physics and geometry without ever hearing the words.
It's like the difference between reading the car manual and actually driving the car.
Precisely. But, and this is a very important distinction, I can hear people listening and thinking, okay, so I should just let my kid run wild and break everything.
Chuckles.
Yeah.
I can hear that too. Sorry about the lamp. I'm just building my neural architecture.
No, that is not the idea. Montessori makes a huge distinction between chaotic motion and what she calls purposeful movement.
Okay, purposeful movement, what's the difference?
She uses this beautiful analogy of a conductor and an orchestra. The mind is the maestro. The muscles are the orchestra.
I love that.
Now, if the orchestra is just playing random, loud notes with no direction from the maestro, what do you have?
Chaos, noise.
That's the child running around aimlessly. But what if the maestro is waving the baton, all passion and intention, but the orchestra is just sitting there not playing a single note?
Uh-huh. That's just a guy waving a stick. It's useless.
That's the child forced to sit still, daydreaming, disconnected. The goal is harmony. The maestro, the mind, has to practice with the orchestra, the muscles, to perform a specific complex task.
So give me a real-world example. What does that look like for a 3-year-old?
It looks like a child carrying a small glass of water, filled right to the brim, all the way across the room without spilling.
Just the image of that gives me, as a parent, instant anxiety. My first impulse is, here, let me get that for you.
And you must resist that impulse because think about what's happening. The eyes, the balance, the grip, the focus. The maestro is conducting every single section of the orchestra in perfect harmony.
So a potentially wet floor is a small price to pay for that development.
A tiny price. Or think about washing a little table. The small circular motions. The sequence of tasks. The child scrubbing a table isn't just cleaning. They're building the foundations for writing, for logic, for concentration.
That's a huge shift. We usually see chores as things we have to get done so that the kids can play.
For the child, the work is the play. The work is the builder of the person. When we do everything for them because it's faster or cleaner, we aren't helping. We are robbing the maestro of their practice time.
And this connects to the second part of our topic today, doesn't it? The darker part, the lost child.
It connects directly.
When I first read that phrase, I immediately pictured a kid lost in a supermarket.
Yeah.
But
that's not what she means, is it?
no, this is where the whole conversation pivots from the child to us. The lost child is a metaphor. And the lost child is the modern adult. It's you. It's me.
Wait, hold on. How am I the last child? I pay my mortgage. I feel like I know where I am. Do you? Look at our civilization. We've built what she calls supernature. Cities, technology, instant communication. We are, for all intents and purposes, masters of the planet.
Right. We're powerful.
Are we? Or are we anxious, stressed, and afraid? She says we're like a child who has immense power but is lost in a dark forest. We're afraid of the shadows. We're afraid of the future, of wars, of each other.
That's painfully accurate. We have all this power, but we feel so fragile. Why? What's the link?
The link goes all the way back to the spiritual embryo. We are lost because we grew up disconnected from reality, because we weren't allowed to build ourselves through that purposeful work.
So because we spent all that time sitting at a desk just listening, we never got our hands dirty.
Yeah.
And that broke something in us.
It failed to ground us. A child who learns to master their physical world, to carry the glass, to wash the table, to build the tower, they grow up with this deep, quiet confidence in their own ability to handle reality. But the child who is always served, always passive, they become an adult who feels like a stranger in their own world.
We're giants, but with the fearful hearts of lost children.
That is the diagnosis exactly. We've built a world that requires giants, but we've educated a generation of lost children to live in it.
That is a heavy thought. It's a profound explanation for the anxiety we all feel. So if that's the diagnosis, is there a cure? How do we find our way out of the forest?
We have to return to what she calls the instinct of work.
Work again. Most of us think of work as a curse, the thing you do to get to the weekend.
Yes, the biblical idea. Work is punishment, a burden. But Montessori's observation of what she called the normalized child completely refutes that.
The normalized child.
The child who is in an environment that allows them to follow this instinct. And what she found was amazing. The child doesn't work until they are tired. They work to cure their fatigue.
Wait, work is restful. How is that possible?
She argues that the burnout we feel, that exhaustion, comes from working against our nature, from forced, meaningless tasks. But true work, chosen work that unites the hand and the mind, it's restorative. It actually creates energy.
I think I've seen that. A kid building with blocks for hours. They aren't getting tired. They're getting more and more focused. They're happy.
They are in their element. And she noticed that when a child finds this work, all those negative behaviors,
Which ones?
laziness, flightiness, rebelliousness, even deceitfulness, they just disappear. They aren't character flaws, they're symptoms. Symptoms of a spirit that is starving for meaningful work.
So a naughty child is really just an unemployed child.
Precisely. And an anxious adult is an adult who, as a child, never learned to trust their own hands.
This all comes back to us then, to the parents, to the teachers.
It does. We have to stop seeing our job as serving them and start seeing it as guiding them to their work.
So let's make this super practical. Tomorrow morning, my kid is running wild in the kitchen. My instinct is to shout, "Sit still." What's the Montessori answer?
Invite them to work. That energy is real. It needs a channel. Don't dam it up. Direct it. Say, "Can you help me carry these heavy books to the living room?"
Something heavy.
Yes. Give their muscles a real job to do. Give the maestro a challenging piece to conduct. You will see the chaos transform into concentration almost instantly.
Channel the energy. Don't block it.
Exactly. Because movement is life. Forced stillness is stagnation. It is a little death.
A powerful way to end, and it sets us up perfectly for our next deep dive. Because if we do this, if we raise this working human, what kind of world do they build?
That is the question, isn't it? We touched on this idea of supernature. Next time we're going to dive into it. Is our complex technological civilization a mistake? Or is it our human destiny?
I cannot wait for that. For now, the takeaway is clear. Watch the working child. And if you really want to get this, you have to read the source.
Education and Peace is a manual for the human spirit.
And you can find it from our sponsor, Dar El Kalima Publishing. It's an absolute must-read.
Indeed.
Thank you again for walking us through this. It's always, it really changes how I see things.
The pleasure is all mine.
And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us on this journey of building humans. Let's remember the motto that guides us.
Love for all, service for everyone.
See you next time.